The Heart of a Wanderer, the story of Louis de Montfort. In the late 17th century, the city of Rennes was a place of high society and rigid expectations. While most students at the Jesuit college dreamt of becoming powerful lawyers or wealthy merchants, Louis Marie de Montfort felt out of place in their world of status. He spent his hours tucked away in the quiet corners of the library or the stillness of the chapel. For Louis, intelligence wasn't a tool for personal gain. It was a lantern meant to guide him toward a radical truth that the world seemed to have forgotten. Louis realized that faith was hollow if it stayed hidden within books. Every afternoon, he slipped away from the college to visit the local hospitals. He found himself drawn to those the world ignored: the elderly, the sick, and the broken. He spent hours by the bed of an old man named Luc, who had no family left. Louis didn't just offer prayers, he offered his presence. He believed that the greatest poverty wasn't a lack of bread, but the feeling of being unloved and forgotten by God. Among his peers was Silas, a quiet student who often hid in the shadows because his clothes were tattered and thin. Louis saw the shame in Silas's eyes and knew that dignity was a basic human right. Without a word to anyone else, Louis took Silas to a local tailor. He used the last of his own savings to buy Silas a sturdy new suit. As Silas stood taller in his new clothes, Louis realized that true leadership meant lifting others up until they could walk as equals. When the time came to travel to Paris for further studies, Louis chose to go on foot, leaving behind the comforts of his upbringing. On a lonely stretch of road, he encountered Jacques, a beggar shivering in the biting wind. Louis didn't just give Jacques a coin, he gave him everything. They exchanged clothes right there on the road. Louis continued his journey dressed in Jacques' rags, arriving in the capital city looking like a common pauper, having fully embraced a life of total dependence on Providence. Louis eventually moved to Poitiers, where he was tasked with reforming the city's chaotic hospital. There, he met a young woman named Marie-Louise, who shared his fire for serving the poor. Together, they worked tirelessly to bring order and dignity to the wards. Louis didn't just manage the facility. He scrubbed floors and bandaged wounds. He taught Marie-Louise and the staff that every person they served was a reflection of Christ and that their work was a living prayer. Seeking a deeper direction for his life, Louis walked all the way to Rome to speak with Pope Clement XI. In the heart of the Vatican, the young priest stood before the leader of the church. The Pope saw a rare, unyielding fire in Louis. He didn't tell Louis to stay in the safety of Rome. Instead, he commissioned him as a missionary apostolic. He told Louis to return to France to teach the absolute truth of the gospel and to help the people renew their baptismal promises. Louis returned to the French countryside as a wanderer with a mission. He traveled from one village to the next, often followed by a trail of curious teenagers and workers. One girl, Elise, was struck by how he could make complex truths feel simple and urgent. Louis taught them that their baptism was a serious commitment to follow Jesus through the hands of Mary. He used music and storytelling to capture their hearts, proclaiming that Jesus Christ was the center of every human life. In the town of Montfort, Louis inspired hundreds of volunteers to build a massive Calvary, a great monument on a hill, to remind everyone of Christ's sacrifice. He worked in the dirt alongside a laborer named Henri. For over a year, people from all walks of life dug soil and hauled stones. It wasn't just a construction project, it was a community coming together to build something beautiful for God. Louis and Henri shared the heavy lifting, united by a singular vision. But the world often fears what it cannot control. Just before the Calvary was to be blessed, the government ordered it to be destroyed, fearing the site could be used by rebels. A soldier named Bastien arrived to deliver the heartbreaking news. While the villagers wept and grew angry, Louis remained unnerved. He looked at Bastien with a calm that unsettled the soldier. "We built it for God," Louis said. "If he allows it to fall, his will be done. Let us build it in our hearts instead." Louis Marie de Montfort spent the rest of his life as a pilgrim, never staying in one place for long but leaving a trail of faith behind him. He taught that to give everything to God was the only way to be truly free. He died with nothing of his own, yet he possessed the peace that the world could never provide. His legacy remains a call to every generation to live with a heart of fire, to serve the poor, and to walk the path of the gospel without fear.